From the banks of Dewey Lake, it's the Dewey Pod Monster.
Welcome back. My name is John, and this is the Dewey Pod Monster Podcast. This is a weekly podcast about consumption and Charles Bronson. We are, of course, proud members of the You Run Podcast Network. You can find all of our old episodes, all of our new episodes, and all the other amazing shows on the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. With me this week is the host of the Dewey Pod Monster Podcast. His name is Sean. And Sean, how the hell are you doing this snowy, gloomy afternoon?
The chandeliers, John. We have them by the chandeliers.
Another quotable movie. This is a very quotable month. I'm here for it. So before we get to Bronson, though, have you watched anything else over the course of the last several days?
Got a few things I want to talk about, John. Time to get serious. I watched a 1984 documentary. It's called In Heaven There Is No Beer. And it's a documentary on the early 80s polka scene, if there is such a thing. Now that I've said that out loud, that sounds actually quite ridiculous. It has a lot of polka music. Lots of polka dancing, talking head interviews with people who are in the bands, people who are performers, people who go to the festivals. It follows this whole circuit across the Midwest, Michigan included, Pennsylvania, obviously. They talk about different types of polka and how there were different polka. Every country in Europe basically had a different polka. There's like a German polka, there's a Polish polka, there's a Romanian polka, Austrian, like all these different things. And now the polka in 1984, it's all just a mishmash. And there's all these people dancing differently, doing all these things. You had your hand raised, John. How can I help you?
Did they feature Gus Polinski?
No, they did not. They had not Al Yankovic, but the other Yankovic, the real polka.
I don't care.
Yankovic.
No Gus Polinski, no Polka King of Chicago. Fuck this movie.
Sorry. They didn't have, it's 46 minutes. So I don't even know if that's actually a movie, but it was fun. Had a lot of fun. My kids came home. They're like, what are you watching? Cause that's like
I heard that's about half of how long a movie should be.
Yeah, roughly. It's about a minute over half. But my kids were like, what are you watching? My wife's like, oh, hey, you're watching a polka movie. I'm like, yeah, cool. So she sat down. We watched a little bit of it. That was fun. I'm doing this little project. We talked off mic about it. 1980s movies. For a thing coming up in the near future, maybe, who knows? I watched The Fog, and that's a John Carpenter movie, The Fog from 1980, with John Carpenter's actually in it. It's got Hal Holbrook, Adrienne Barbeau. Is that your mustache? Or you're covering your mustache?
Yeah, but he's not, he's shaven in that movie, isn't he?
Carpenter?
Tom Atkins? No, Tom Atkins.
Oh, I didn't get to him yet. Yes, Tom Atkins is in it. He is clean shaven. Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis. If you're unfamiliar with what The Fog is, it's a movie about fog. It rolls into a small California town 100 years after it initially came or whatever. And it's kind of like this ghost zombie pirate thing. And they come to town. They want their gold. They want to claim the 6 lives. There's 6 men that they lost. You can see where Carpenter, this is 80, so it's before Escape from New York. It's before The Thing. So you can see where he's getting the inklings of what makes a Carpenter movie a Carpenter movie. This is after Halloween. This is still full-blown Carpenter, but he's still forming his kind of milieu, I guess. And I like it. It's not my favorite. I don't think it's anybody's favorite Carpenter movie. It's fun, but it's ultimately pretty forgettable. Like I would never sit down and think like, I'm going to watch a movie tonight. I want to watch The Fog. Like that's not ever going to come to be the first thought in my head when I think of a movie I want to sit down and watch.
I remember liking it, but it's been years since I've watched it. So I will accept your judgment on The Fog, but I still feel like I need to give it a rewatch because it's been long enough that aside from what we chatted about earlier that I'm not going to repeat because it's horribly inappropriate, I don't remember a shit ton about it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those movies, like I said, kind of forgettable a little bit. And the last thing I want to talk about, I went to the actual movies. I saw, I guess, a horror movie in the theater. My wife wanted to go. So I was like, yeah, I think I had to talk her into it. There were some subliminal messages that were kind of pushed to her. We went and saw the new Sam Raimi movie. I had to think, Sam Raimi.
Oh,
we went and saw the new Sam Raimi movie, Send Help, with Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. It's obviously from 2026. So long story short, basically a woman who's kind of mousy, a little frumpy. She's up for a promotion at her company. She thinks she's gonna be promoted to the VP, and the boss's son takes over, and he decides to promote old frat buddy. And they're kind of thinking like, how can we get rid of her? How can we just push her off into this other division? Because she's, in the words of the new boss, she's a disgusting woman. So he decides she's really good at her job, but she's just not very presentable. So he takes her on a trip with some of his cronies to Thailand. And on the way, there's a plane crash and they have to work together. He's injured. She has to kind of nurse him back to health, and hilarity ensues. I really actually, my current kind of employment predicament that John knows quite a bit about, I thought this was like the perfect movie for me to go see. I had a lot of fun with it. It wasn't like necessarily scary. There's a few jump scares. There's a few like really blatant jump scares, but it had a lot of dark humor, which I'm a huge fan of. Black comedy.
Raimi's
just kind
usually
of
good for some of that.
Yeah, kind of elements of not quite getting the full story from the characters, and it was good. I recommend it. I don't know if this doesn't look appealing to you. I would say just wait for it to come on, VOD, or come home to rentals, or buy it on Apple TV or wherever people buy their shit from. Amazon Prime, I would recommend. There might be links in the show notes to Amazon Prime. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Does the Dodge Delta still make an appearance? I haven't seen a current Sam Raimi thing in a while, so I'm curious if the Delta is still alive.
That's a good question. I don't know, but I can tell you they don't ever show the old boss, because the new boss is the son of the old boss, but there's a picture of the old boss, and the picture of the old boss is Bruce Campbell.
I knew Bruce Campbell was in it. I was looking at that.
Just his picture.
Oh, it's just his. He's got a full credit on IMDb. I mean, that's fine.
Oh, maybe
he's got a full credit on IMDb. I was looking a little bit into it this weekend. I wasn't quite ready to go see it, but I do want to see it. Probably no surprise to anyone. I am a Sam Raimi fan, so I was wanting to at least check out pretty much anything that he does. And his humor more often than not works for me, especially in like a horror movie. So when they were talking about him coming back with a horror movie, I was like, all right, yeah, have some attention.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. I mean, it wasn't like the best movie I've ever seen, but for a newish movie, I think it's got like a 7.3 on IMDb, that's fair. Pretty good.
I can never tell if I can't stand Rachel McAdams or I think she's actually okay. So
she's really good.
I assume
she kind of makes the movie.
I assume she probably gets like blood thrown at her quite a bit, or probably gets messed up at some point in the movie.
Yeah, there's some
Sam Raimi movie, so
there's some of that. Definitely some of that.
That's good.
That's what I got.
Switching gears.
Let's switch some gears.
That's what you got?
Yeah. That's all there is.
Do you want the old movie? Well, actually, okay. First off, I'm not gonna say a lot about this movie right now because it is something that we'll cover like as a full episode. I did finally get around to watching Only Fangs this week. It's a lot of fun. Seek it out. It just got put on, I don't even know how to, Xumo, I guess, Xumo. So you have an account there. I guess you can watch it for free. We'll be covering it later, but I enjoyed it. Just leave it at that. Also, quick way I want to say, we mentioned long ago that the Boogie Monster was a different podcast that kind of helped pave the way to this coming around. They're back on a bi-weekly basis, so if you like Kyle Kinane and Dave Stone and their shenanigans, they're putting out new episodes again, so I was happy about that. So those are the quick things. I have 2 documentaries and an old shitty movie to talk about. Which one do you want to hear first?
I mean, just give me the shitty. Give me the shitty first.
So, shitty it is. So, have you ever seen The Alien Factor?
I don't know.
It's from 1978. So, it's a very typical 1970s, like, shitty rubber monster movie where it's about this alien that's transporting 3 creatures to Earth. It crashes in a sedan or something like that. And the 3 creatures basically get loose and rampage all over for about an hour and a half until they decide they're done rampaging. The reason it's funny is the design of these aliens is so ridiculously stupid. One's like a Bigfoot with like big nipples for some reason. One's like just got a lot of teeth. I forget what the third one looks like. The bottom line is you can tell it's always a guy in like a shitty suit who can't see what he's doing, and they're just kind of waving around frantically while someone like knocks him over and runs away. So if you like shitty like 70s monster movies that are fun in their own, like, they're fun in their own way. Absolutely worth like screwing around with for an hour and a half. It's not the best thing that I've seen by any stretch, but in terms of like something where you can pop an edible and just kind of chuckle at it, I had fun for that period of time. The documentary side, there's a new documentary that's on Netflix called Miracle, the Boys of 80, which is about the 1980 Miracle hockey team in the Olympics that played at Lake Placid in Jersey, New York, something like that. Is it New York?
I always thought it was New York.
Whatever it is.
Somewhere. Not
over there-ish. I gotta say, I was kind of disappointed with it. Like, it does a good job covering like how they built the team and like showing the coach a little bit and like showing why this was like how much of an underdog they were. But like, it's not very engaging. It doesn't really draw you in. It doesn't do a good job of like creating any excitement around these games, which I guess at the time was a pretty big deal. Like, not that you can totally recreate a game like that, but if you compare it to a much better documentary like the Jordan one, the Last Dance one, I found myself getting into those games, even though I knew what a lot of those like endings were going to be, because they did a good job of building up I don't want to know if storyline's the right word, but what the game was, the importance of the game and all that. This just doesn't hit. I was kind of disappointed with it. And usually like hockey guys are kind of like wrestling guys. They're usually a really good interview, and basically anyone who's not dead from this team is in this documentary. So there's probably 20-ish people that they're talking to throughout the course of this film. Obviously some more than others. For hockey guys, they're kind of fucking boring. Like, it's just not that interesting. So, if you're like, Sean probably knows this and is probably already dreading this a little bit because there's plenty of bars around. If you're looking forward to the Olympics and want like a little primer, which I'm looking forward to watching the Winter Olympics starting at the end of the week here, this doesn't really work to kind of prime the pump in any way, but it's there if you want to watch it. So you do a lot better. I'm sure there's probably a better documentary about the same thing, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. A much better documentary it's on HBO, I believe. It's called Mel Brooks, the 99-Year-Old Man. It was directed by Judd Apatow, and it's basically just about 4 hours of an old Jew telling Mel Brooks' story. And the reason why it's great is because the old Jew is Mel Brooks. And he's just, if you know Mel Brooks and his humor, you can kind of hear how he would explain things in your head without watching it, but listening to him go over basically his entire life, it's just really well done. It's shot really well. It's the guests that he have on there, they don't overstay their welcome. Even people like Adam Sandler pop up and you're not annoyed by him. He doesn't come up there and be like, squiggly doo, or any shit like that. Thankfully.
Darn. I tune in to see Adam Sandler go squiggly doo, or whatever you said.
Well, I think that's a lot of what people tune in for with Adam Sandler. But, there's a lot of shitty things going on in the world right now. And if you want a distraction that's kind of uplifting and fun, the Mel Brooks, the 99-Year-Old Man, not necessarily the best title, but that's a great distraction for a few hours. That just is, there's a little bit of like stuff in it because he's, there's like, he goes really heavy on like Carl Reiner dying and stuff like that. If you're a Rob Reiner fan, which I'm not a huge, like, with all due respect to Rob Reiner, like I was never a huge fan of his films. Like I respect him and all that stuff, but if you're still if that's really fresh for you, like he is in it. So that might be a trigger for some people, I guess, because that's only been like a month at this point, maybe 2 months, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
years,
it hasn't been,
but yeah.
Regardless, he's in it. So I could see that maybe being upsetting for some people, but like it's a very positive documentary. It's mostly about a guy that makes comedy movies, and there's a lot of funny stuff in it. So I highly recommend that. I had fun with that. Goes well past the hour and a half mark, but that's okay.
It's 2 parts, right?
Yes. So yeah, it's 2 episodes, I guess. So and it cuts pretty well. Like I did it all in one sitting. Like it was, again, we're in Michigan. Like we've been snowed in a lot, or might as well be snowed in a lot lately. It was one of those days where I looked outside. I'm like, well, I'm not fucking going anywhere today. So I just kind of popped that on, and before I knew it, it was over. It's called winter. Sucks.
Yep. Started, it was dark. Finished, it was dark.
Yeah, pretty much. As you do. That's all I got for this week. So I think this is as good a place as any to stop talking about aliens and documentaries and switch over and talk about the man, Charles Bronson. Do you agree?
The man, the myth, the legend. Let's do it.
Well, let's do it. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to switch gears and talk about Murphy's Law. Not the band, the movie.
They say you can't go back in time, but they clearly haven't been listening. From the neon-soaked cinema of the 80s to the high-octane drama of 90s pro wrestling, this is the deep dive your inner child has been waiting for. This is Pop Culture Reflections. More than just a review show, it's an exploration of the films, music, and icons that defined a generation. Join Justin and a lineup of special guests to rediscover the stories you love. Pop Culture Reflections. Listen to them now and all the other great shows on the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com.
All right, so we're back, and as promised, we are talking about the movie Murphy's Law from 1986. This third-party review is on Rotten Tomatoes. We're back there because everyone on Letterboxd wanted to write a whole book about this movie for some reason. And this guy, who has no name, says, decent Bronson film. Beware of the serial killing bitch. 3 out of 5 stars.
I concur.
So, Sean, what is Murphy's Law about?
Okay, so for that, we go over to imdb.com and we type in...
You almost went into a Bronson impersonation there, didn't you?
Hey, imdb.com. And we go to type in Murphy's Law. It brings up a movie from 1986, which is the one that we're going to talk about today. It's from 1986, if I hadn't mentioned that already. It gets an R rating. It's an hour and 40 minutes long. It gets a 5.9 out of 10 with 7,300 ratings over on the IMDb scaleometer. And they put this thing on the top. I'm going to read it. Never quite sure if it's a storyline or the plot, but Grandpa always told me if they put it on the top, you got to read it first. So, Grandpa, I'm following your wishes here.
Yet another Charles Bronson dark comedy, apparently.
That's right. That's what he's known for. So this says, framed for his ex-wife's murder by a parolee he once put behind bars, a Los Angeles cop, Jack Murphy, escapes from custody to capture the killer, but he is now handcuffed to a foul-mouthed thief he had only just arrested. And if we scroll on down to the bottom here, I guess this is a storyline. This is care of Michael A. Court. That's 2 T's. He's available at mccourt@une.edu.au. I'm assuming that's in Australia. And it says, Charles Bronson plays Jack Murphy, a veteran police detective who is framed for the murder of his ex-wife. Although taken into custody, Murphy escapes from the police station handcuffed to a foul-mouthed car thief. Pursued by the police, Murphy must find the killer before it is too late. And that is Murphy's Law. That's my trailer guy voice impersonation.
I'm not going to read it in trailer guy voice, but for my cliff notes, I just wrote, Jack Murphy likes booze. After neglecting his cuck chair, he is framed for the... I can't talk. I'm going to start
neglecting his what chair?
Cuck chair.
Oh.
He's got a cuck chair. So let me try this again. Jack Murphy likes booze. After neglecting his cuck chair, he's framed for the murder of his ex-wife, and then shenanigans ensue. That's my whole cliff notes.
Pray tell, what is a cuck chair?
So when they go in his bedroom, he's got a chair that is just kind of in the corner facing the bed so that he can watch his stripper ex-wife do things with her strip club owner boyfriend.
Guy. Yeah.
Guy.
Okay.
So, because he's a cuckold, you know?
Okay. I get that.
Speaking of cuck chairs and Jack Murphy, who's in this movie?
All right. So that's a very interesting question. I'm glad you asked because I wrote all this shit down. Now I get the chance to read it. We have Charles Bronson, who plays Jack Murphy. He's obviously been in the Death Wish series. He was in Magnificent Seven, of course, Kinjite Forbidden Subjects, and last but not least, 10 to Midnight. We have Kathleen Wilhoite, who plays Arabella McGee, which is a classic name. She was in Roadhouse, Fire in the Sky. She was in Gilmore Girls and Witchboard. We have Carrie Snodgrass, who plays Joan Freeman. She was in Pale Rider, Wild Things, and I believe she played Ed Gein's mother in the Ed Gein movie. We got Robert F. Lyons, who plays Art Penny. If you've seen old Charlie Bronson, you may have seen Robert F. Lyons. He's been in Death Wish 2 and 10 to Midnight, and of course, this movie with Charlie. Then we have Lawrence Tierney. He's in this movie for about a minute as Cameron. He is in Reservoir Dogs, Armageddon, Prowler, and he was Elaine Bennis' dad in Seinfeld.
I just noticed that James Luisi plays a character named Ed Rinke, which is entertaining to me because that was my high school football coach. Anyway,
the guy or the Ed Rinke?
Ed Rinke was the name of my high school football coach.
I thought maybe this actor was your high school football coach.
He looks taller and less fat than the Ed Rinke that was my football coach. So,
well, good for him.
I digress. So, Murphy's Law. This movie is Murphy's Law. Basically, this is just a scummy cop movie, but I'm all here for it. It starts out with a really ridiculous car theft. And one of the things I'm going to just say right from the beginning, we get a lot of Charles Bronson foot chases in this movie. And I'm so there for that because he looks goofy as hell running around in dress shoes, chasing this dickhead Arabella, who we'll get to her later. But I love that this movie just starts with him coming out, buying some booze and some bread, and she steals his car and like basically hops a curb, flies it into a deli or something like that, and proceeds to have him chase her. Only for like 2 scenes later for him to have, they never really say, I don't know if it's the same car or a new car, but he's driving a car again. Just a couple of scenes later, I'm like, so did he get a car, like a new car, or is this like a station car? I don't know. I would have loved to have seen that scene. So it's a good place to start with it. What are some of the things you like about this one, other than the cuck chair?
Yeah, before, I mean, I didn't even know that was there, but okay. I wanted to say, like, this is 12 years after Death Wish, and he was 53 in Death Wish. Charlie Bronson he looks every bit of 65 in this movie. He's got like
especially when he's running.
He's got the rickety knees, like the bow-legged knees and stuff, like he's been riding a horse like way too long. So I appreciate all the cop chases they put this poor elderly man through, and the stunt scenes that he does where he like jumps through windows or whatever, clearly some guy in a wig, it's great. So you start off with likes. I mean, right off the bat, you mentioned this whole car theft scene, walking out of the party store, the convenience store, whatever, grocery store with the bag of bread and the booze, and his car is getting stolen. He like football tosses, shot puts this bag of groceries
into his own car.
Right. Hey, that's my car. You can't steal my car.
He definitely had eggs in there. He definitely had eggs in it because they just all over
that yellowy kind of gross. This movie, as much as I talk about, or I have talked about this month, about good old Charlie and his like wooden acting, he has the most expressive facial movements or whatever in any of the movies that I've seen. He is constantly like, it looks like somebody goosed him in some of the scenes, like, and his eyes open real big. And it's just like, what a ridiculous, that's worth the price of admission. Just seeing his face, these surprised looks on his face. Like, I didn't know you could even open your eyes that way, that big, Charlie. He's like opening them big time. There's this whole scene where I thought his wife was already dead at first. Like, I didn't realize that she had just
They kind of imply it until all of a sudden she's shaking her tits in front of you. So.
Well, he opens the mailbox and he pulls this envelope out and he just throws all the shit on the lawn. And it's like, I thought it said like death certificate, but I think it was like a notice of divorce or something that he had gotten in the mail. There's a scene after his wife gets murdered and her lover get murdered where they think it's Charlie because the woman that put him, the woman that he put in jail, the Jane Snodgrass lady, Joan Freeman, Carrie Snodgrass is the actress, Joan Freeman's the character. They put him and his partner put her in jail, and she starts setting up all these things, all these people that put her in jail are getting murdered, and they're basically getting pinned on Jack Murphy. And there's this scene where he's getting interrogated by the police because he's been arrested because his gun was used in this murder, and they think that he did it. And the cops...
Before you go farther, can I say my favorite part of that scene?
Yes, please, because it might be the same thing.
I love that they offer to plead down because he was drunk. I did not know that you could plead down because you've been abusing alcohol, which that's
you murdered
his
people,
lawyers in there. Yeah, he's like, we know you murdered people, but you've clearly been drinking. So, we could probably knock off like 15 years for that. I was like, what?
Maybe
that's an excuse now?
Maybe that's the cop special. Like, you're a policeman.
I guess.
We'll give you a break. There's this whole thing. And he implies that the two cops that are interrogating him are lovers or something. And when they tell him basically like, yeah, we got you, dude, you're going away. They don't treat cops in prison nicely. And the cop, the one that's like the main dick he like grabs the partner and he like hugs him and he kisses him on the side of the side of the head. I was just like, that's a really great way to turn the tables back on old Charlie. There's a lot of things to really kind of gush over in this movie. I thought it was really funny. When he's in that interrogation scene, he gets locked up. There's like the handcuffs, the long handcuffs where he gets locked up with old Arabella McGee, and they're escaping from the holding cell or whatever. And they take a helicopter, and Charlie's just like, yeah,
it's amazing.
I was a helicopter pilot. Like, really?
You know what's even better about it? So they take the helicopter, they go to this drug barn.
Yeah.
They land on a barn, which the second they land on the barn, you're like, that's going to go well.
Right. This isn't.
And it does.
Out.
Shenanigans ensue. Where did they go after the drug barn? Did you notice where they ended up?
No.
I'm going to guess no.
Yeah.
So they go to his partner's house. His partner's house also happens to be the Tommy Jarvis house from Friday the 13th, Part 4. The second they get there, I'm like, that door frame looks so fucking familiar. I was like, that looks like the Jarvis house. Spent 5 minutes Googling. I'm like, oh, that's Jason broke all these windows out like a year before this. That's cool. So
I can't believe these cops, like his partner has this elaborate house. It's like this amazing looking house. Like, you're an LA cop.
Well, there was quite a few murders that took place in that house. He probably got it at
devalued.
So.
Well, I mean, if Friday the 13th Part 7 told us anything, they may not even have told the guy that people got murdered.
It's also true.
Yeah. I mean,
it's also true.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got telekinesis and we missed out that part of the movie.
He's much like 10 to Midnight. Maybe he had psychic powers or something.
Yeah.
The movie is just another movie full of Charlie one-liners. The thing that's even more interesting, and I don't know, it's not alike, so maybe I won't get into it too much, but yeah, let's skip it. We'll come back to it. It's got those cliche shootouts. It's got several cliche shootouts. My favorite is when they're leaving that one. It's like they're escaping from the mobster dudes or whatever, and he shoots the car, and like one bullet makes it explode from behind.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like that as I mentioned before, Joan Freeman is the killer. She's the one that's like responsible for all these things. This is not a spoiler. This is just part of the plot. I think it's really kind of cool, and maybe, I don't want to say courageous, but it's different to have a female killer that is like the main person that is against a male. Like, you've seen several movies where obviously
she's also more
terrifying
than any of the mobsters or anyone else coming after Jack Murphy in this movie. Like, by the end of this movie, he's being chased by this killer, law enforcement, and
the mob,
kind of the mafia.
Yeah. But I thought it's really kind of cool. It's a good change of pace to have a female killer, because you just didn't, like, this is 86. Women kill women, they kill other people, it happens, right? But this is like, she's like a very aggressive killer, and it's never even mentioned like, oh, this is a woman, blah, 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 blah. That's not even like given any kind of service at all in this movie. It's just like, no, she's the psycho and she's killing everybody.
Because this is a 1980s movie, I actually spent a good part of the movie like, is this like a guy in drag or something? Like, is that part of where this is going? And it's not. And I mean, that's neither here nor there, but it's so out of place for this era and this kind of movie.
Yeah.
And she's pretty good at it. I'll give her that.
Oh, like, she's super convincing.
A fucking terror. Yeah.
Super helpful. So. She does such a good job that she's so convincing in this role that, I mean, like we just said, you don't even notice because they don't make any mention. There's no special treatment made. Oh, it's a woman. Oh, crazy. But it's just like, it's a great performance in a movie that you're not expecting it in at all. You know, you're just like, oh, another Charlie Bronson cop movie. He's going to do the thing. You kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. You know, you kind of expect it. You might not know the plot points, but then this other thing that nobody ever mentions is in this movie, hiding in plain sight the whole time.
One of the things I like they did with the killer, whatever her name is, Joan or whatever.
Joan, yeah.
Yeah. The first couple kills she does with a gun at close range. And it's a little thing, but I really like that they included it. They never really show like the body actually getting shot, but they always show blowback and like a bunch of gore getting on her. I was like, that's actually kind of a nice touch, because a lot of movies skip over that, where they'll blow a dude up or whatever, and like there'll be gunk on the corpse, but not anywhere close to the person who just shot them at like point blank range with a shotgun. They do that to her on this. I was like, it's a nice little touch that you just don't see in every movie like this. A lot, like how many times have we seen Charles Bronson shoot someone just this month and never gets a speck of blood on, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
often.
cool to see him do that. This movie too, like it's paced really well. Like there is no real like major downtime in this movie. Like it pretty quickly goes from him, you know, getting his car jacked to finding out he's divorced, to his wife getting, you know, blown the fuck away, to all the shit that happens with Arabella McGee. It moves pretty quickly from one. Name. I know it's horrible. We're gonna get to her more so. It's a horrible character, but it moves pretty quick from scene to scene, and it's not quite like an action movie. It's a Bronson movie pace, but it's really good at keeping you engaged with what they're saying, even though in a lot of ways, this feels like rinse, wash, repeat of a Bronson in a lot of ways. But I think they pull it off pretty well. There's a lot of little things too, like a lot of like, how the fuck did that happen moments in this? Or like, what the hell is that? Like, there's a point where they go to the airport and I was like, oh, I wrote in my notes, I'm like, oh, we're at the airport now. When did that happen? Just real quick, like that's where they are. Yeah. So there's a lot of like scenery changes, especially in the first part of the movie, that don't always add up, but it's easy to just kind of brush off. One of my favorite things I saw in this, when he goes to buy more booze and runs into Arabella McGee again, and he starts chasing her through this, like, I guess it's like a grocery store. I really like that the grocery store has a section that's just called economy meats, and it's like a whole room of economy meat. I don't know. I wrote it down just because I was like, there's an economy meat section. Does that mean there? What? I don't know why. I just imagine that smells really bad in there, and it made me laugh.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's painted in giant red letters on this one wall, like as he's chasing her. You know, sometimes you're watching a scene like that, and the one thing you're not supposed to notice is the only thing you see for whatever reason.
It's one of those. See it the entire time that it's there.
There's one point I wrote on this. It seems like a justified shooting for a Bronson movie. I'm trying to remember who Bronson shot that I said that was justified. So I guess that doesn't matter.
They're all justified. It's Charles Bronson.
Well, that's a fair point. We mentioned that he steals this helicopter and lands on a barn already. That whole sequence of events is hysterical because it's so well telegraphed. You don't necessarily know what's in the barn when they get there, but as soon as they fall into this barn, and it becomes pretty apparent pretty quick what's going on in the barn. Not that it matters. It's drug barn. There's weed everywhere and whatnot. And it turns into this little standoff of like, what, 3 dudes?
Yeah, 3 bikers.
Yeah, something like that. It's just so fucking ridiculous that it's like, all right, you kind of have to laugh at it. And you can bring in more positives if you want to after this, but I'm going to go ahead and get into Arabella McGee now, because if you didn't hate her before this part of the movie, by this point, you definitely will hate her, because she only has 2 modes. She has like stupid, like 8-year-old insults where she's calling people like butt crust or like booger nose or shit like that. Yeah. Or homo. That's like it.
Yeah.
It's like she's only like gay bashing or like 8-year-old insults. And I was like, I wrote 3 different points. One point I wrote, it's amazing that no one has killed Arabella McGee at any point in this movie. And this is like maybe 30 minutes into the movie. I wrote, Arabella McGee seems pretty fucking dumb that she was able to survive to this point of adulthood. And then I was like, can someone please just kill this woman? Like, and this is a woman who, you know, manages to kick Bronson in the balls and get away with him at one point, making it hard for him to run. This is a woman who, I'm still not 100% sure why she's running away from Bronson and goes into a stall. And instead of just going into a stall, she crawls belly first under the stall door, even though Bronson's not there.
I think you had to put money in to open it.
Okay. Well, that at least makes some level of sense. But I was like, why the fuck did she? I guess if you didn't notice. So while I was noticing economy meats, you must have noticed a coin.
Yeah, there was like some kind of lock, like some coin activated lock or something on the stall door. Because I thought that too, and I'm like, oh, that, because it looked really weird. Like the doors looked really weird, and then she's crawling in. I'm like, oh, okay, she didn't have the money to put in it or whatever. But yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
She just fucking sucks. And I think in real life, if she was dealing with murderers, mob guys, and Charles Bronson, she would have been shot way earlier.
Long dead.
Yeah, long dead. But she manages to make, and at some point they like pivot to this weird like romantic interest between her. Well, she has like this romantic interest with Bronson. Thankfully, he doesn't seem to give a fuck about her. At least not much.
I
It's
think
just
that there
weird.
is some kind of romantic implication or some kind of implied romance that happens, especially at the end.
I definitely for her. Like, when they're in the
'cause I like
Jarvis
older
house,
men. Yeah.
he's like, she's like getting off on him shaving or something. It's
Right.
fucking
She's like watching
weird.
them, and I don't like mayonnaise. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, who doesn't like a sandwich with mayonnaise? And you know, that's where it sparked really for her. She was like,
I don't like mayonnaise.
I don't like mayonnaise. Then she's like, oh shit, this guy doesn't like mayonnaise. I'm in love. You know, I need this man. Her character is so intriguing to me because this is an R-rated movie. Other people say fuck, they say shit, they say all the things that people, like you
It's
said,
got
people
everything that an R-rated movie has. It's got nudity. It's got extreme violence. It's got all of it.
And for some reason, they ran her lines through the Last Action Hero police chief filter where he cannot say a bad word. I mean, she, you know, like you said, she's gay bashing or she's saying insults like, you bug sucking booger, you're going to regret this. And like dinosaur crotch and, you know, just like dinosaur dongs or whatever. It's just like, why are these so infantile? Why are these insults so infantile? And the description on both IMDb, like the storyline, the plot, or whatever that thing on the top is, because I never know what it actually is. They both mention how she's this foul-mouthed thief, and the foul mouth is but she's like you said, it's all these like elementary school insults that she's hurling at people, and then it's distracting. It's like distractingly bad. It's not even that it's just bad. It's just like, wow, that was really weird. Like, why?
It feels like they tried to make her TV appropriate, but no one else in this movie TV appropriate. And that's the kind of insults that they are. It's like when you watch The Big Lebowski on TNT and they ask if you've ever seen a stranger in the Alps or whatever it is that they change it to. Like, there's no point. It just feels so out of place. And I'd be willing to bet that if they had her like as foul mouthed as anyone else in this movie, just like dropping F-bombs and C-bombs and whatever other words you want, I'd probably still hate this character because she is genuinely annoying regardless of the words that are coming out of her mouth. That said, the words that do come out of her mouth actually make her more annoying than what they could have been, I guess.
Yeah, it's not good. And you mentioned it earlier, you know, the whole airport scene and all that stuff. This story, like the pace is quick. There is almost always something evolving. Like there's always get to the next set piece, the next set piece, the next set piece. The story is all over the fucking place, especially up until he gets framed. You're kind of like, what is this movie about? You know, it's like, oh, this hooker got killed or whatever. They find a hooker under the bridge. And that just leads you to the mob guy. That's kind of how you get introduced to him. But then that's never brought up again because honestly, any kind of procedural police work that happens in this movie happens at the very beginning. And that's just to set you up to introduce you to other characters. But I was 35 minutes, 40 minutes into the movie. I was still like, okay, what exactly is happening in this movie? Like, why is he?
I feel like for the most part, aside from the MacGuffin of the mob guys, because they kind of imply that he thinks they're the one that killed his wife or whatever. So aside from that, I don't really feel like the mob guys even need to be in the movie. Like this movie's not, how long is this movie? Like an hour, 40 minutes?
Yeah, hour and 40. Yep.
Okay. So I'm not saying like you need to,
amount.
Yeah, well, I don't feel like this movie's long. Like it doesn't have that problem, but I also feel like if you just got rid of the mob guys altogether, I don't feel like you would really miss much in this movie.
No, I mean, you missed probably 15 minutes.
Sure. But like,
it doesn't, story-wise, it doesn't add anything. It doesn't take anything away. It's just like another group of dudes, especially in the final confrontation. It's just an extra group of guys that he has to go through.
It's almost like they're adding a body count.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to give Arabella some seduction kind of sexy scene, and they have to give body count at the end. And then other than that, it's just like some guys that are there to fill in some time, essentially. The other thing,
they're not even good mob guys. They're kind of bitches.
They're kind of, they're really underplayed. They're really downplayed. The guy is weird. He's getting his nipples like bit or sucked or licked or something in the scene.
Yeah,
it was just like, I thought he was getting a blowjob. And when they show
that's what you would think.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's just laying. He's like,
in a movie with
give
cup
it to
chairs
me.
and strippers, a
Yeah.
blowjob would make sense. But instead, she's like treating his nipple like she's a cat. I don't know.
Yeah, something
it's not
like
good.
it's a melting ice cream or something. Gently licking it. So we talked about the chopper scene. I think the chopper scene. I have the chopper scene as a negative. I liked it, but the landing of it. They land on top of the bar and they're like, "Oh, we're out of gas. We got to land here." They're like 15 feet off the ground. Is 15 feet? You couldn't land on the ground, like another plot thing to just add some ridiculousness to an already pretty ridiculous movie. But I don't know. It's just like,
Hey, it's funny. But
the
yeah,
scene
it is
where
stupid.
it goes is gold. It's Bronson gold.
Yep.
But to get there, it's like really big leaps of logic to even get there. But I thought it's funny that he's like, I was a chopper pilot back in Korea, or World War I was a chopper pilot. Revolutionary War, I was flying choppers. And he decides he's going to like land it on this bar, and it's just, and then they can't use the other one. There's another one sitting on the helipad, and they can't use it because it's being repaired or whatever. I don't know. The whole thing was just ridiculous.
I love too that as they're making this escape, like there's several cops that are chasing him out of this like jail where he's breaking out of. He goes and hits the elevator button to make the elevator move and then goes to the stairs that are immediately behind them. If you have several cops, don't you think at least one of them would check like each direction on the stairs? Just maybe.
No.
Like it seems like a logical thing to do, especially since he would know that there's options to, well, if nothing else, there should be a fire escape on the roof, even if you don't want to take the route of helicopter in this case. But there's a lot of like stupid cop work that goes in this, or like coincidental stupid cops in this, and that's fine. I don't really. This movie gives you plenty of dumb shit. Like if you really want to pick apart the logic of this movie, it's really not great. You could almost spin this as like this revenge story based off Joan or whatever her name is,
Mm-hmm.
and almost have it be a stronger story. But because it's a Bronson movie, it's like that's there. But we also have to have all the check boxes for a Bronson movie in there.
Street chase, foot chase, shootout,
Right. Another
fire
punch in the
escape.
face, jump kick.
Yeah.
All that.
Oh,
and
my
Charles
God, the
Bronson jump kick is always great. So,
Wow. Fire escape.
Yeah.
That's the thing I was going to say. Like the another common thing that we have in all these movies that I've noticed are like, especially this cop era Canon Group. Again, if we didn't even bring it up. Golan Globus, Canon Group production. Fire escapes are like, they have to be in the movie. He's got to be, tumbling down a fire escape at one point or another.
I don't have a ton left. Like it's just going to get really nitpicky and picking apart at this point.
Yeah.
I'm ready to fire up the grill if you are.
Then you're in for a big treat, bro, because it's hot dog time.
So I'll go ahead and lead us off on this one. And I'm going to say, although I have a lot of fun with this movie, this is probably a solid half a hot dog. And I say that because by Bronson standards, it just feels like he's going through the motion. This is a missionary sex Bronson movie, and that's okay. I'm not mad about it. I don't feel like I was let down. Yeah, I will sit in the cuck chair and watch this movie whenever I, feel the need, but it's fun. It's got a lot of, again, it checks all the boxes, but like as far as how good or how strong of a movie is, especially coming off the heels of what we just talked about with 10 to Midnight and coming off of Death Wish, it's just not on that level. And that's not necessarily bad. They can't all be that fucking great. But, if you're marathoning these, if you're following along with Bronson month, you're not going to be mad that you put this on. But that said, if you're not like a big Bronson fan, if you're like, I wish these guys would shut up about Charles Bronson, this is probably one that you could, if you skip it, you're probably not going to miss that much.
Shut up about that Bronson.
Whose hot dog is this, huh? Is it yours?
For me, I think it's pretty safe to say this movie is not going to win any awards. Bronson has obviously been playing seemingly the same character for the past few films, and we've talked about it with varying degrees of expressions on his face. This one obviously seems like he's the most expressive for some reason. Someone stuck something up his ass every so often in this movie so he could make a face. But this is also, I think, of the ones that we've talked about. Well, I mean, I don't think. This is definitely the silliest one to date. He's got that whole quote unquote foul mouth partner that he's taken in, and her refusal to swear for whatever reason. The over the top action is a fun note. It's, like we said, escaping from the police, chained to this partner, this woman, Arabella McGee or whatever, stealing a helicopter only to land on a pot farm's barn for that to collapse. And then they're the stoner biker guys that try to rape her, and he rescues her. And that happens all in like 5 to 10 minutes. So in that order, by the way, if that sounds like something for you, I know a movie you might well like to watch. With all the silliness, the plot's all over the place, though. It's barely held together. I think it's a fun movie that you should watch once, especially if you want to get that full Bronson experience. But I also think it's an interesting concept to have a villain who is a woman, and it's never brought up as if that is something that's like out of the ordinary. I think that's pretty cool, especially for a movie in the mid 80s. Like you, John, I have to give it half a hot dog. It's really not up to snuff with the other two movies that we've talked about so far this month, but it's not one that you should totally avoid. I think it's one that you should watch at least once. It is fun as long as you can get over the Arabella McGee character and all the stupid swearing for whatever reason she does it that way. But yeah, it's a fun movie. It's definitely, belongs in the Bronson omnibus, if there is such a thing.
We forgot to bring it up as a positive, and this is a very much so positive. Much like the Monster Squad rap, this has the closing Murphy's Law, like jazzy cop song at the end of it,
about that.
Which is pretty amazing too. That was the last thing I wrote down. I'm like, oh yeah, we got to talk about the fucking credit song, because
hey, brother,
I don't know about you, but we seem to be fans of movies that rewrite their own shitty closing credit song.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
They always age wonderful. So
yeah. Death Wish 2. Can't wait for that one. That banger.
Or Kinjete, the whatever.
Forbidden Subjects.
Perfect. Yeah, anything else you want to mention on this one?
I feel like there was something that I was going to mention, and then I lost it. I had it, and I lost it.
So I think that's all we got for this week. If you have the time or are curious, we do ask that you please give us a follow on all the social medias. We're at Dewey Pod Monster, with, of course, the exception of Blue Sky, where we are at crap.town. You can also follow us at our website, which is crap.town. You can send us feedback there. You can tell us things like, hey, you morons need to watch Kinjete, or I'm probably saying that wrong. Whatever. Some other Bronson movie, Love and Bullets, whatever. Let us know what you want us to watch. Please do head over to yourunpodcast.com. That is we are part of the You Run Podcast Network, and we'd like you to go there and check out not just our shows there, but one of the other great shows that are on the You Run Podcast Network. And of course, this is coming out right before Franks and Steins at Batch. We're going to be at Batch Brewing on the 19th, so 2 days after this comes out, and you can come hang out with us and watch RoboCop and see Sean in all as happy as he will ever be. You'll have a beer, you might have a hot dog or some other sort of eating contraption, and you'll have RoboCop on. It should be a great night. Sean, what am I forgetting?
Well, I mean, I was going to say, one thing that we didn't mention, do you know why all these Bronson movies came out and why they're all these Canon Group Bronson movies? Do you know the whole story behind all that?
I assumed he just signed some kind of like multi-film deal with them, and they just started cranking them out because they're Canon, and that's kind of what they do.
They were actually profitable for Canon, and I think they were paying him $1.5 million per to be in these movies, but the stipulation was something like he had to have creative control. He had to be, I want to say he had to be a cop. There's like a whole list of these things that he had to have approval of before he would star in these movies, and they were kind of written for him. And I think it's crazy that he did, I don't know, like 15 movies or something like that, and not really ruined. I think it opened his legacy to a whole group of different fans. But I think the people that were fans of his original work were like, oh, Charlie's just cashing in. It's kind of like the whole thing that we see with somebody like Bruce Willis or Nick Cage or one of those actors that do all these things. But anyways, what I was going to say, the thing that you may have forgotten about, we talked about a few things at the top of the show. Those things we always list in the show notes, especially if we can find streaming venues that will play them. Most of those things are free. I don't know of any other show in the universe. Sam even confirmed it last week. He's never heard of a show in the universe that lists so many things that lets their audience watch it for free without paying a single red cent. You can go watch these things. I don't think you're going to be able to see Send Help anywhere for free, but we're going to try and find it if we can. If it's not free, if we can find it, if it's on something like Amazon, it'll say Amazon after the title. You click those things, that's an affiliate link. You'll go to Amazon where you can buy the thing that we link to, or if you buy anything else that helps support the show. The other great way to support the show is telling a friend about it. Maybe there's a friend that you know that loves Charlie Bronson, as I like to call him, old Uncle Charlie. Maybe they like Charlie Bronson and didn't know that he was in a movie called Murphy's Law, or didn't know that he was in a almost horror movie called 10 to Midnight. You could recommend this show to them, and they can find out several other ridiculous movies that Charlie Bronson and other actors have been in. Other way to support the show, leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. Other than that, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm at Blue Sky exclusively at internalbleeding.crap.town. John, back to you.
You're welcome, Dildo Nose. That's all we got this week. Swell up, Butthorn. Cheers. Talk to you next week.
Bird season's over, Butthorn.
Murphy's Law is you don't fuck with Jack Murphy. Isn't that what it is? Is that what he says?
He says you don't fuck with Jack Murphy, but I don't think he says Murphy's Law is. He might. Is this when he's talking to that mob guy? Isn't it like the shitty mob guy?
Remember when I told you Murphy's Law?
Says it like in the beginning and the end of the movie, right? Yeah.
And then I watched the trailer, and it's like it's like this. I absolutely love those shitty trailers where it's just the title of the movie that's in like just in plain text in the corner of the screen. It's like something for TV, and he says Murphy's Law is you don't mess with Jack Murphy. I was like, oh, that must have been the alternate take.
I like the trailers for the Bronson movies because they're all like, Charles Bronson is Murphy's Law. And it just, bang, bang, bang off or Charles Bronson is Death Wish 27. Every one of them's just great. They're all the same thing, and I don't care.
The Murphy's Law one is so fun because it's just like the title card is just this badge. It's like a LAPD badge or whatever with just this shitty digital garbagey looking font on top of it. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is what I want out of my Charlie Bronson movies.
See, you have all this stuff for the cutting room now that you can just tack at the end of it.
Murphy's Law. That guy, man, with the fucking Stones that always did the announcing too, like the trailer guy voice.
Oh, yeah.
Stones.
Guy's amazing.